Welcome everyone to the next episode of Nell's Epic Business Show. Today we have Jamie Shepherd with us, who is the owner of Soteria Planning, which we can actually see behind you. Love that bit of extra branding there for you, Jamie. So Jamie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Nell.
Tell us a bit more about you and your business.
Okay. Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me on. So my business has been running now for just over 2 years. We set up in January 2020. I say we, I mean I. Okay. Obviously did not know that the pandemic was around the corner. Been in my current industry for just over 6 years now. And just before I kind of went self-employed, I was at a crossroads as to what do I do next. And whilst running a business was never really on my agenda, I felt quite strongly about having control. And when I say having control, I mean being able to work when I want. I mean being able to offer the clients the service that I expect, being able to put clients first, and having that control and being able to share that value with others, which I now have, having employees, having other associates within the business. It's quite important to me.
Okay, so I'm going to backtrack because that's an interesting point. So you never really set out to have your own business. So what made you decide to actually then take that plunge instead of going to work for someone else?
Yeah, so just before I took the plunge, I was offered employment because I'd been self-employed for 3.5 years before that. Okay. So I kind of understood the self-employed model in terms of you've got to work, otherwise you're not earning. And I got it. I got it. It worked well for me, having a young family. And I don't know is the answer. Why did I decide to? I set up a business with somebody. It didn't quite work out. We kind of went our own separate ways. So I kind of had to. By that point, I'd made a decision that this is what I was doing. So I had to kind of be accountable. And during the first couple of months of COVID, I was actually really enjoying being a business owner because I would say was refreshed around the accountability being all on me. There's obviously hundreds of thousands of employees out there that were either put on furlough, made redundant, lost their jobs, and none of it was in their control. Yeah. And I kind of took the mindset that if I'm running my own business and there's no work, or I'm running my own business and it fails, at least I've got myself to blame for that. I can look at that. I could maybe try again. Whereas I kind of like having that control so that I'm in charge of my own destiny, really.
Okay. So what kind of traits did you expect you were going to need as a business owner?
Hard work, honesty. I think being grounded is quite important. Mm-hmm. So, for example, being a business owner, I know somebody like you will help people with their end goal. What does that look like for them? And I imagine for many business owners, it's actually quite tricky to look at what that end goal looks like. But I'd say I'm very grounded. I know that what I want to achieve is not going to happen overnight. I know that I'm not just going to sit here and all of a sudden earn money for doing nothing. I actually really enjoy what I do. I enjoy meeting new people, learning about people, helping people. Those are values kind of instilled within me. So even if I was in the situation where I built a business, it was working without me, I'd still want to be doing what I'm doing because of the fact that I enjoy those touch points with clients. But yeah, hard work, honesty, integrity. They would probably be my main characteristics, I'd say.
Okay. So what have been some of the things that happened that you maybe hadn't expected?
Growing a team.
Right.
So when I set up, I kind of had the visual that it would just be me. I didn't really want to, I wouldn't say managing people is a strong point of mine. And I wouldn't really say I ever wanted to do that, but I kind of grew to a position where I needed more bodies. And so in January 21, so a year after the business was formed, I took on my first employee. We're now up to 4 employees, and we've got 6, 7 self-employed associates within the company as well. So I think that's something that I never saw. I think, again, going back to the C word, COVID kind of helped me there, because when I set up the business, not knowing what was around the corner, I kind of thought, well, do you know what, being self-employed, I only need to earn this a month. I'm going to do this, then I'm going to just chill out and kind of get by. And then when COVID struck, and for people like me in that situation, there was no kind of financial support, no financial help. So it was like, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set my targets. I'm going to make sure I know how to achieve those targets, and nobody's going to stop me.
Yeah. So you've almost become an unexpected success.
Yeah. And I almost feel like I don't think I could be employed anymore. Which is a weird thing to say, because obviously if you had to be, you had to be. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I like planning my own diary. I like helping others. Not too sure I would get on well being told what to do, where to be.
Okay. So now, all of a sudden, you're still a fairly new business. You've got all these people around you that are reliant on you in the business continuing to be a success, and not something that you had planned, because you just said earlier, I'm not necessarily great at managing people. So how do you manage that?
With great difficulty.
Okay, I'm sure there's other people listening as well, though, that will be exactly the same, that had never planned on having a team, but that now find themselves in a position where they have to. So how do you manage that?
I think it's important to listen to your team. So I have the mindset that what I say is not correct. What I say and what I do works for me. We have team meetings every single week. And as part of that team meeting, whilst we would talk about last week, this week, opportunities, threats, we'd also talk about, is there anything that can improve your style of working, improve your sales, improve your lead generation? So I'm very open to being more dynamic, being more customer friendly. So we're always looking at ways in which we can deal with that. And I feel that, yeah, that's quite important, being a leader, because I learn differently to others. I learn by doing. I don't learn by watching.
Okay.
Whereas others might learn by watching. And I actually really enjoy having other salespeople within the team, because we all have different styles of selling. Some people are straight to the point, money's in the bank. Some people are more build the relationship. And I feel that with the vast majority of clients, you need to have a little hybrid model. Sometimes you need to have some clients will want you to just get in, get out, do the sale. Some clients will kind of want a little nurture, will want their hand holding.
So it's about understanding what makes people tick, I guess, is what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Understanding how people like to be transacted. If I need to go to the dentist, I'm more than happy for the dentist to go and sort my teeth out, and I'll pay him. Whereas if I want to go for a massage on my really, really tight legs, then I kind of want to understand a little bit more about why they're tight and how I can avoid them being tight in the future. So I guess it depends on that transaction. That's a really bad example I've just given you. But
I did kind of go, where are you going with this?
It kind of works a little bit.
It does a little bit. I see what you're saying. So you've obviously started the business in a really interesting time where we've had to deal with so much change in the last 2 years. What do you feel is like a key action for you around how do you deal with change? What are you like under pressure?
So I'm rubbish with change in terms of inside, but I appreciate that you need to change to survive. So I had a meeting as part of my decision to go it alone in January 2020. I spoke to quite a few people around me, friends, people inside the business services section. And one person said to me, "What's your threat? What's stopping you from doing more business?" And long story short, it was all around, well, time, because back before COVID, all of our appointments were face to face. Every single appointment, I would have gone out, traveled to the client's house, whether that was 10 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
That was my way of doing business. And this person said to me, "Well, could you not do a Zoom call, a phone call?" No, can't build a relationship that way. You can't get business that way. And that stuck with me. And obviously I look at that and I think, well, how wrong was I? Now, I know, I appreciate that during COVID, we had to work like that. Okay. But my business is still very successful at the moment with regards to that way of working.
Okay.
I would say the majority of my meetings at this very moment in time are still web-based or people coming into the office.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's lots of pros, lots of cons for it, but a lot of it is down to time, isn't it? Since COVID, people have really, really time poor.
So what I'm almost hearing you say here is, you appreciate that although you're personally not necessarily great or comfortable with change, you also recognize that as business owners, we have to be comfortable with change, and that there will be times where we're proven wrong, that whatever idea we have actually is the wrong one, and we have to adapt.
Yeah, correct.
Interesting. That. What's one thing that you're most proud of?
Dare I say surviving COVID?
You can say what you like, if that's the right answer.
I think during that period it was really tough because as a business owner, there wasn't really anyone for me to go and talk to, for me to kind of say, well, how should I deal with this? I mean, when your pipeline just drops out of the sky, how do you deal with that? And it was very much, I mean, there was, again, within local networking groups, there was some key people, influential people that were kind of talking to you about little things here and there, go and take out an overdraft, that kind of thing that was really, really useful. What am I most proud of? I would say continuing to strive for excellence. So I feel that I am a long way away from where I was at the start, and I've still got a long way to go. So what I'm trying to say there is I'm on a journey and I'm really enjoying the journey, and I'm proud of that.
I love that. What does success look like for you?
Success. So one of my advisors who I spoke to, who you know very, very well, I spoke to her the other day, had a catch up. She's doing really, really well at the moment. And I just said to her, "Oh, what about this case?" And she said to me, "Oh, it's done." And previously, nearly every case in the company would go through me in terms of whether that's advice, whether that is the sign off, whether that is, and she said, "Oh, that's done." I said, "Oh, okay." She said, "Yeah, I dealt with X." So bringing in employees, trusted people around me with same skill sets that are able to do what I do, I'm able to let go of a little bit, which sounds silly, but it releases so much pressure from my head. Over the past 2 years being a business owner, whilst not having the correct, shall we say, CRM systems in place, the CRM is always something that's developing. I've always had things in my head that I've had to write down or worry about or things like that. And just for the company at this very moment in time to be able to transact without me, probably what I love the most.
Interesting. Actually, that leads me on to a next kind of question. If you were to have a conversation today with someone who's starting a business now, whether that's you going back or just someone else, what would be your sort of top 2, 3 top tips that you would give someone starting out?
Believe in yourself.
Oh, okay.
Be open to change.
Right.
And don't listen to what everyone says.
So who should they listen to?
They're trusted people. Get some trusted people around you, whether that be people in your industry, people that are clearly good at running a business themselves. Get some trusted people around you. I kind of course, in any industry, sometimes you will lose business because clients will say, oh, I've seen it cheaper over there. Yeah. No problem at all. I've kind of developed a mindset where if that's the case, absolutely fine. The clients can go and find a cheaper alternative. Obviously at the start that used to hurt me a little bit because in terms of pricing, you're constantly having to benchmark to make sure you're not overpriced, you're not underpriced, you don't really want to be losing money. You have to make sure you're covering everything, especially with employees coming on board and those kind of things. Going through the challenge of VAT registration is lovely and joyful.
Just in case that the HMRC is secretly watching.
Yeah, we don't take cash. We don't take cash.
No.
So I would say believe in yourself. Before I started my self-employed journey, I was an employee working for the local authority, and my mindset around that was that as an employee, it didn't matter whether I was really good at my job, whether I worked really hard. If I was in the same team as someone that didn't work as hard, wasn't as good, we took home the same paycheck.
Yeah.
Or we kind of were recognized the same. Now, I'm not money motivated at all, but I like recognition. I like to know I've done a good job. I like to work hard. And I kind of feel that running your own business, if I want to work on a Sunday and develop something on the website, I can do that. No problem at all. I quite often sit appointments with clients on a Sunday evening, and people often say to me, why? What else am I going to do on a Sunday evening? I kind of feel that if I'm securing a deal on a Sunday evening, I'm going into Monday with a bang. That's my mindset around that.
Although some people might say, well, on a Sunday evening, surely that's family time.
Some people might say that.
And some people might also say being a business owner is all about money. Why else would you start a business if you're not money driven?
For control.
Control of what?
Process. If you were an employed coach at another company, and at that company they had an administrator that was doing all your admin, and that administrator was awful, okay, she was just awful for you and your clients, and she made you look bad, okay, how would that make you feel? Now, in terms of you right now, okay, you're able to pick your best administrator for your job because it's your company and you can hire them and fire them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the experience that I've gone through, but that's what I want. I want the best people around me.
Okay. If you had a magic wand.
I do. My son's got a Harry Potter costume.
Oh, see, when you come home and you use such a magic wand, what's one thing you would want to change about your business?
Probably would have done it earlier.
Oh, wow. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Why did you wait?
Confidence. Somebody who I know was looking at doing a similar thing. I guess cash flow. I think when I started the company, I think I had 4.5 grand in the bank, okay. 5 grand in the bank. I didn't take out any loans. I kind of noted down what I'd need. So website, I mean, the majority of my costs are monthly costs. Things like software, CRMs, insurance, laptops, all that kind of stuff is a monthly fee. So as long as I've got income coming in, then that's not a problem. So yeah, I guess confidence. I guess what was holding me back is who am I? Who am I to set up my own business? Can I be better than? Why would clients come to me? Whereas when you're in that mode of, I mean, I am in a referral business, whether I'm getting referred by professional partners or whether I'm getting referred by clients, it's a referral business. I don't go out knocking on people's doors. I don't go and stand in the street and say, here's my business card, come and talk to me. 9 times out of 10, my emails will be busy or my phone will ring. So it's about having those things in place, right? It's about making sure your phone can ring. If your phone doesn't work, then it's not going to ring. So I kind of looked at all the barriers and made sure that there were very little barriers to making my business work.
Oh, that's interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, now you've alluded to the fact that obviously you've got a young family, so this next question could be quite relevant. What subject do you think schools teach that is most useful to being a business owner? Or maybe on the opposite side of that, what do you think they should teach kids right now?
I feel that they should definitely teach kids about finance. Certainly where we're currently at with budgeting, price rises, all that kind of stuff. I think budgeting is quite important.
Okay.
In terms of being a business owner, yeah, you could say that business as a subject is quite important. I think, I mean, you would know this stat more than me, but I can imagine there was a lot of people, whether it was a second job, a third job, or the main job, started a business during COVID. And that just comes from people wanting a second, a third, a fourth income stream. And I always say to people, when you are self-employed, when you're running a business, you need to identify how you can make money. And once you identify how you can make money, you just need to then do it. And that sounds really simple, but people spend a lot of time on things that don't make them money, which doesn't make sense, does it?
Correct. I feel like you've just explained most of my life. Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thanks. I might snippet that out and just use that for my marketing, what he said. What do you love most about running your own business? Or what do you love most about being a business owner?
So freedom. Although it doesn't feel like that sometimes when you're working long days, but freedom. It's exciting. It's exciting when you see recognition, when you see your name is being posted in a positive light around what you do. Quite often, I think on social media one time, I was called an industry influencer.
Oh,
now,
very fancy.
I don't really know what that means, really, because I don't see myself as an industry influencer.
Okay.
Quite often people, I've probably had through a guy that I work with who does my marketing for me. He often points other business owners in my industry to me to have conversations about how I do business. And I often say to them, I'm nothing special. I just work hard. And that's genuinely what I believe.
Okay.
I kind of get to that mode of, I know how much business I need to do a month. I know how many appointments I need to sit to do that much business. And I know how many leads I need to get those appointments. And if those leads are not coming in, then I know how to generate leads. So I'll need to spend time on that. And it's just about putting those things in the funnel. In terms of generating a business, in terms of why I love it, I guess it's the ability to create a legacy. I mentioned earlier about finance. Lots of people my age, even older, with younger children, are probably thinking, how on earth are their children going to get on the housing ladder? How on earth are their children going to afford to live in the future? And if I can do anything to support them whatsoever. That's quite important to me.
Okay, love that. I love that.
Maybe a Caribbean holiday as well. We'll get there.
What do you mean, maybe a Caribbean holiday? Of course, there'll be a Caribbean holiday. What's your, and this before we go into the last of the 3 shootout questions, what's your next step? What's now your next big thing?
My next big thing. My next big thing. Oh, I don't know whether I could do that. I was going to say have a week on holiday with no emails, but that would be really, really difficult because my emails pop up on my phone.
You do realize you can take that off, right? You can just delete the app for a week.
What would be my next big thing? That's a question I probably need to think about.
Great. Okay, there you go. Bit of homework on the back of this. Who knew?
Thank you.
Pleasure. Right, so we always end these podcasts with the same questions, quick fire kind of questions. So I'll start with the first one. What would you tell yourself at age 10? Like if you could go back, talk to Jamie age 10, what would you say to yourself?
Go and study geology at university.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Because there's so much money in that, I reckon.
Oh. Okay.
No, I'm only joking. What could I tell myself at 8 to 10? Yeah, I probably would have worked harder at school. I did all right at school. I did what I needed to get through. Went to university, but probably would have worked harder at school. Definitely would have worked harder at university. I pay a lot of money off my student loan each year, and I kind of, I would have worked harder. 8 to 10, that's a really hard question that is now. Probably would have learned, I'd like to be a better chef as well. I'd like to, when I say chef, just cook something other than pasta. I'd quite like to be better at that.
Okay.
And if I could choose from there again, I probably would be a vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
I could live without meat very easily.
I feel like I'm not going to open that can of worms. I'm going to nicely keep that. That's a separate conversation. If you had to start your business again, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? Probably
spend some more time on inducting advisors more. So I've kind of gone through the process of having advisors come on board, but no real process for them.
Okay. So
having a solid process in place for them before bringing them on board, I would say.
Great.
There's not that many regrets around the business, to be fair.
And that's okay, but it's always great, isn't it, to look back and kind of go, actually, looking back in hindsight, knowing what I know now, this is something I'd change.
Yeah, I guess it's that mindset of changing from. I would say I was always in my head a B2C business, but now I put myself really as a B2B because I asked the other businesses to share me and pass and refer me. So that B2B model for me really works.
Okay, interesting. Love that. And then the last question, very simple. What's the best bit of advice that you've received? Could be life or business advice.
Start your own company.
Start your own company. Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
Beautiful. That could nicely conclude where we're at here. Thanks very much for being here, Jamie. Some very interesting thoughts coming out of that. I'm sure that this will definitely help a few people watching this that might either be on the cusp of starting a business or that are maybe a bit further in and pick up some great learnings that you've had. Some good stuff in there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome now. Thank you.
Cool. That is all that we have for this week. Thank you for watching. Go and have an epic week, and we'll see you next time for another episode of the Epic Business Show.